hacer falta. Hacer falta. Falta, you know what hacer means, but falta means a few things. It means lack, shortage, absence sometimes. So it has quite a few meanings. But when you use it with the verb hacer, what does it mean? Let's look at the meaning of hacer falta. By the way, if you want to use any of these phrases that we're going to learn, you need to know the conjugation of the verb hacer. Hacer. Okay? Yo hago, tú haces, él hace, nosotros hacemos, vosotros hacéis, and so on. By the way, in Spain, the pronunciation changes to hacer. Okay? Remember, the C sound is different in Spain. It's unique in Spain. Okay, so hacer falta. What does this mean? It means to need. To need. So this is very interesting how hacer, it means to do, to make. But in this situation, when you use it with the word falta, it means to need. Hacer falta. Hace falta papas. We need potatoes. That's pretty much what you're saying. Or we need potatoes. Hace falta dinero. We need money, right? It's similar to saying that when you say hace falta something, right? So it's like we don't have this or we need this, okay? So let's look at an example and let's see how this this phrase works. Me hace falta tomates para hacer pasta. Me hace falta tomates para hacer pasta. Pasta, you know what that means, pasta, right? Pasta, tomates, what are we talking about? Tomates, tomatoes, pasta. So what's the meaning of this? What do we need? We probably need tomatoes to make pasta. That's what it seems to be, right? That this example means. So this means, it means I need tomatoes to make pasta. So hacer falta is very similar to the Spanish verb necesitar. Necesitar means to need. That's like the literal translation of necesitar. But sometimes people say hacer falta. They don't say necesitar sometimes. They say hacer falta. So this is very important to remember. So let's break this down. Me hace falta is a great sentence that means I need. Okay? Me hace. You're not going to say yo hace falta. You don't use yo. You use me. Me hace falta. Remember, me is a pronoun. So I always talk about me. So if you're familiar with me, you know how it works. If not, you can browse my channel. I have a lesson about reflexive pronouns. And yeah, it's quite interesting. Me hace falta. I need. It's similar to saying I need. Okay? Tomates. Tomates means tomatoes. Tomates. In Mexico, specifically, they're called jitomates with the J-I syllable. Jitomates. Jitomates, that means red tomatoes. Just red tomatoes, okay? You can also say tomates rojos, okay? Because there's like green tomatoes as well. So tomates rojos means, just one sec, means red tomatoes. That's the literal translation. So I'm just going to move this more this way. Oops. What am I doing? What am I doing? There you go. Me hace falta tomates rojos para hacer pasta. Some people just say tomates because what do you use to make pasta? You don't use green tomatoes with pasta. You usually use red tomatoes, and that's pretty much it. I mean, tomato wise, right? Because you can add so many things to pasta. You can add other veggies and so on, but when you add tomatoes to pasta, usually they're red. Anyways, so me hace falta tomates. I need tomatoes para to hacer, make, para hacer, to make pasta. Pasta is pasta. So this is interesting how we used the phrase hacer falta. You can see that it's conjugated right here. Hace, okay, hace, me hace. If you want to say this to someone, you would say te hace. Okay, so that's why this pronoun is important. These pronouns, reflexive pronouns, me, te, le, nos, okay, and so on. So very important to know those pronouns. Okay, excellent. So let's look at the next example. The next example is: no hace falta que me repitas las cosas. This is a more advanced Spanish right here. But yeah, let's learn the meaning of this because it's important to know it. No hace falta que me repitas las cosas. No hace falta que me repitas las cosas. What does this mean? This means, you don't need to repeat things to me. Okay? So it happens that sometimes some people sound like a broken record. So some people might say, no hace falta que me repitas las cosas. So don't tell me the same things over and over. That's pretty much what we're saying here. No hace falta. No hace falta. Similar to saying you don't need. Okay? You don't need to do something. You don't need to. We're not using me, te, those pronouns that we used here. Okay? We have it here, though. We have it here. So when you say no hace falta, you're saying there's no need for something, or you don't need to do something in some situations, right? So no hace falta is very similar to saying there's no need for something, okay? So in this situation, que, we don't have que or something similar to que in English here. We just have the verb repeat, right? So when you say no hace falta que, that means that you're going to add more to the sentence. No hace falta que ... So in this case, we're saying me repitas. That is similar to saying repeat to me, okay? No hace falta que me repitas. There's no need, or you don't need to repeat ... to me, okay? And las cosas, things. It's quite interesting how the structure works in Spanish and how it works in English. So it's really good to pay attention to these little details because that's gonna make your Spanish great. So no hace falta que, you don't need to, me repitas, repeat to me las cosas. Thanks. Okay. No hace falta que me repitas las cosas. You don't need to repeat things to me. That's what it means. And that's how it works. So remember, que can be added right after no hace falta, or it could be positive and you can remove no. And you can say, hace falta que me repitas las cosas. So that is the opposite. You need to repeat things to me. Okay? So it's very, very interesting how it works. You can also say, me hace falta. Okay? Que me repitas las cosas. You can say that for sure. But you don't have to. So you can just say, hace falta que me repitas las cosas. Okay? There's a need, for me to, hear these things again, pretty much. Just repeat things to me. So it's very interesting how it works, for sure. It might look complicated. It's not complicated. Just remember, when you're using hacer falta, you don't use the pronouns yo, tú, él, nosotros, ustedes, ellos, vosotros, and so on. You use the reflexive pronouns me, te, le, se, nos. So remember that. That is important. And by the way, te hace falta means you need, right? Not I need. So I'm just going to replace this. I'm going to change this back to me. Good. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Chrissy, yo necesito mejorar mi español más y yo quiero aprender español alrededor del mundo también. Traveling. That's pretty nice that I think that's one of the best ways to learn Spanish. When you go to Spanish speaking countries and, you practice Spanish there. It's just amazing. It's great. Thank you for sharing, Chrissy. Estar. That's an interesting username. Me hace falta coco para hacer dulce de pan. Excellent. Great example. ¿Cómo te trata la vida? Me trata muy bien. Muchas gracias. ¿Cómo te trata la vida a ti? Thank you for asking. Okay, that was epic. Another interesting username. Hope hacerse is part of the lesson. Very interesting use of the verb. Hacerse. It's not part of the lesson because we're learning phrases. Maybe we'll find a phrase that can be we can use a reflexive hacer, but I don't remember all the five phrases right now, but we'll see for sure. Thank you, that was epic, and Estar for sharing. Also, I have a lesson about hacer, so you can browse my channel if you want to know about conjugation, the conjugation of the verb, and also other meanings or how to use also the verb hacer. Hacer. Excellent.